Hey guys, welcome back to another DJI AIR 3 video. As promised, this week we'll be covering AEB, burst mode and time shots. If you're new, hello, my name is Demetrios and I create videos on drones, photography and everything in between, and it's a mix of educational, entertaining content. After several years of flying the reliable DJI Mini 2, I finally upgraded to the DJI AIR 3. After the first few flights I've had with the Air 3, there's a lot of functions on here and it makes it very overwhelming. And I thought, why not share this journey with you guys while I learn the DJI 3 and its capabilities. Think of this as a series of videos and guides to help you get the most out of your Air 3. To stay up to date, hit that like button and subscribe for future videos. That being said, let's get to it. Right, first of all, we don't need to do a deep dive like in my previous video with the whole menu system. That should be self-explanatory now, but we may have to cover it again with video and some other separate functions. So if you want to learn about last week's menu system, just click the link up here. First of all, AEB, Auto Exposure Bracketing. This is basically HDR. Essentially, all this feature does is take 3 or 5 photos at different exposures. So when you import all these photos into an editing software like Lightroom, you can then merge these into one properly exposed photo. Getting tongue-tied already. In Lightroom, it's pretty simple. You just select all the images, right-click, and just click HDR merge. And then you'll see the final result, hit merge, and then it's done. So with AEB, essentially what it does, it can help you not have overexposed and underexposed parts with a traditional single shot image if you have tricky lighting situations. That way you don't have a blown out sky or not have enough light in the shadows. So when using the 12 megapixel mode, you can take 3 or 5 different exposures, and on the 48 megapixel camera you can only take 3 different exposures, and it's 0.7 exposure at either side of the photo. I'll be honest, I don't use AEB that much in my workflow for 2 reasons. The first of which is it adds time to my workflow. Having to import all those images and then merge them together just adds that extra step that's not really necessary before you can jump into editing. And the second reason is that it adds up space, which I'm running out of. So if you think about it, if you're using AEB 48 megapixel raw files, that's 300 meg now for the photos, then you have to merge them to create another photo. So that space adds up quick. The only time I would use AEB is if the lighting conditions that you're trying to shoot out are actually very challenging, with maybe like a really bright sky or really dark areas, then yes, take some photos. But even then, I would primarily shoot single shot photos and then maybe take 1 or 2 AEBs just to compare after and post. Cool, we all good with AEB? Right, to the next one, which is burst mode. So when I came across this feature, I was like, okay, what am I going to use burst mode for? It's not normally going to be easier to explain with this. So normally you would use burst mode to capture moving subjects, such as panning cars. You would hold the shutter and move with the subject, and you can get some nice panning shots. With a drone, yes, you can move it, but it's not going to be as smooth, I imagine, unless you're using the tracking function, which I haven't tested yet, but I should do, to be able to get panning cars. I don't know if that will work, but again, something I have to test. Before I explain where I think this mode could work best, let's just talk about what you can do with it. When using the 12 megapixel mode, you can take a set of photos, 3, 5 or 7, and in the 48 megapixel mode, you can take 3 photos. Now at the time of doing this flight, I was testing this feature and was wondering why this would be useful. However, the week after, I did try testing again, and it came to me like, okay, maybe there could be some scenarios where the burst mode will be useful. So there's a couple of scenarios I think where you could use this feature. Let's say you have tracking mode on and you have it in camera mode. Maybe you're tracking a car and you want to capture that car moving with the background blurry. You could use the burst mode function. I have yet to try this, but this is something I need to test. The second one is maybe you have the drone positioned at a certain spot and you can see a subject coming towards you and you want to make sure you capture it in a frame. You could use the burst mode to take a series of photos to make sure you've actually caught that. Bearing in mind, you need to check your shutter speed so your subject's either frozen, or if it's a bit slow of a shutter speed, it might come out blurry or cinematic. So you have to make sure your settings are dialed in when using the burst mode feature. I actually would like to know if any of you have used the burst mode feature on your drones, regardless of whether it's on the air or not. If you have another DJI drone and this feature is available, do you use burst mode? And what do you use it for? Because I would like to know. Put a comment down below what you use burst mode for. Again, personally, I don't think this is a function I'm going to use often, but I do need to continue testing to see if I can make it work. So maybe if I do have a car client and he wants to utilize the drone, maybe we can try the panning car shot with the tracking mode and taking a series of photos and see if that works. I don't know if someone else has done that, but I want to see if it works. I know I did take a photo of the gardener the other day, and when I put the shutter speed to 1/25, which is the cinematic frame rate, the cars were in motion, so I took a series of shots, but you could just do this with a single shutter. So like I said, if you're trying to capture a moving subject specifically, then maybe use this feature. Time shot. Now this one is interesting as it takes a series of photos at set intervals. 12 megapixels you have 2 to 60 seconds, and 48 megapixels you have from 5 to 60 seconds. Now what is this time shot used for? Think of it as a time lapse. Yes, time lapse, not hyperlapse, because there is a difference. Time lapse is when the camera is positioned in the same spot and it's taking a series of photos, for instance, moving clouds or moving cars. Whereas a hyperlapse, the camera is moving, taking a series of photos. I mean, you could use the hyperlapse function, but we'll cover that in another video when we get to like the extra functions or shots that you get with the Air 3. So actually what I did the other day is I actually just put the drone up in the air and I left it in the same position while I was testing the flight time. So I did 2 birds with 1 stone, and I just took a shot every 10 seconds for pretty much, I don't know, 36 minutes. I think that's how long the drone lasted in the air, and it makes a time lapse. You just gotta put those images into an editing software and you have to set the interval, how long each frame is going to be, and it will create a lovely time lapse for you. So with the Air 3 having a claimed 46-minute flight time, you could essentially just put the drone up in the air, position it, and then take a series of timed shots and create a time lapse. And then you could probably compile that and upload it to a stock website and sell it. So yeah, this feature could be useful. I could actually have some use for this, creating time lapses. Again, it's just adding to workflow because you have to now compile a bunch of images. It doesn't take long, but it's still extra steps that you need to take. Also, it gives me a reason to try and use all 3 batteries, because I've been struggling to even get through 2 batteries because this thing flies for so long and it's so good in the air. So that's it for this video. If you enjoyed it, remember to give it a like and share this video with a friend. Next week, we're actually going to cover video with the DJI AIR 3, so stay tuned for that. And if there's anything you want to learn about the DJI AIR 3, let me know in the comment section down below. Also, let me know what drone you're flying. Is the AIR 3 a drone that you wish to upgrade to? Subscribe for more videos on drones, photography, and everything in between. And before I go, YouTube recommends you should watch this video. See you in the next one. Peace. Oh my God, I think I've done it. I hope I pressed record. Oh, thanks.